Woo! Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Grace Simon with the New Doors Mentorship and Coaching Group. And I wanted to jump on late in the afternoon because I am getting ready. I'm getting ready to launch the 5-week mastermind of Think and Grow Rich. It's one of my signature programs that I teach because I've really absolutely fallen in love with the study. And I'm getting on here because it's when I was on one of my mastermind groups that I have my coach, my mentor, Paul Martinelli, who I learned and was mentored about Think and Grow Rich. And so he was teaching us this afternoon, and it aligns so much with the study on Think and Grow Rich and where people are at. It's funny. It's funny because I can relate to a lot of people in and where they are with this book called Think and Grow Rich. I've had a few people say, Grace, I just have a thing with the title Think and Grow Rich. I don't know what it is. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with money. I don't have a problem with, getting money, but there's something about this about Think and Grow Rich that just like when I think about it, it just doesn't sit right. And my response in that is I completely understand because I really do. Because I remember 5 years ago um, when Paul was launching his one, he's done it many times before, but the time that I was listening and I, came aware of this teaching from him, I really struggled with it as well. I struggled with Think and Grow Rich. What would that mean or make me to be going into a study about Think and Grow Rich? And it's the weirdest thing. Um, I guess it's not weird, but it's so common that people say I don't have a problem with money, but they have a problem with thinking and growing rich because they think if they think about money or they think about growing rich, that it makes them a bad person. And yet they don't think they have a problem with money. My answer is you have a problem with money. You have a problem with talking about money. You have a problem with like having a conversation about money, about how much money you make or how much money you want to make. And it really comes down to the same thing because human nature, human beings, we have this thing called an ego. And um, a colleague of mine, well, actually one of our managing brokers, he said to me, he said, Grace, you know what ego stands for, don't you? And I said, no, Rick, you're hearing this. It was you that really brought this to my awareness. He says, ego is eliminating God's order. I'm like, oh man, that's such a good definition. Eliminating God's order. And it's so interesting because that ego gets in the way so many times. And that's exactly what happens when people resist going into a program, going into something that's going to cost them something that they're going to be challenged in when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth, when it comes to all you coaches out there that do wealth management, wealth training, wealth coaching, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about is that people resist because of an ego, because the fear, and we've all done it, myself included. I'm telling you, I related to this because of their ego, fear of exposure of what they really think, and the fear of if I thought about money, if I think about money, then it'll cause me to be a lover of money, and lover of money is not a good person of money, and it just kind of goes on that spiral spin of deception is what I say. And that ego, when we allow it to speak and keep us from doing the very thing that we need to do in order to have our breakthrough and have our, to really break through the barriers of belief, of fear, of doubt, of lack of confidence. We really need to step in and through that barrier of fear. that barrier of ego, which is eliminating God's order. And I really love this story, this study, specifically because it's all about God's order. Think and Grow Rich is applying principles to your life, knowing that you have been blessed with this idea, you have been given this idea, this thought that captures you, that like grips you, that grabs a hold of you. And it's just a thought at the time. But then you take hold of it and it becomes a desire. And then that's what we're going to talk about tonight is what is a desire? What does that mean? Taking a thought and paying attention to it so that it's seated, it starts at a place of desire. And what do you do beyond that desire for applying it to your purpose or applying it to your definite purpose of what is it that you're growing? What is it that you're doing? What is it that you're nurturing? What is the vision that you hold for your life that you're wanting to produce? And so this study is so profound. It's factual. It has been surveyed by millions of people. The actual book Think and Grow Rich was, Napoleon Hill studied thousands of people. I think it was over 25,000 people that he studied, and brought it down to 13 principles. People that actually were super successful and super rich, that they applied principles. And it talks about that the people that are wealthy get mistaken for being cold-hearted, that they're always up to no good. And that's like the opinion of people. I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about riches. I don't want people to think that I'm thinking about money, because then they're going to think that I'm a bad person. And that ego, takes over and just completely blindsides you for what it is that you need to apply in your life in order to get rich, in order to fulfill what it is in your heart to do. And the fulfillment of your heart isn't the money, it's the purpose. It's the definite purpose of why you're doing what you're doing and who you're doing it for. Why are you doing what you're doing? Who you're doing it for? And what difference is it making to you and to those around you and those in the world by you fulfilling this? It is so good. This study, it gets that ego out of the way. And I'm telling you, I was dealing with ego even today. The old patterns, this learning strategy, and I talk about this with in the mastermind about our learning model, that we all have learning models and we all have patterns of learning that we need to interrupt in order to create new habits, in order to get that ego out of the way, to create a new habit, to apply the principles, to experience the fulfillment. This is going to be such a good lesson. And so for those of you who say, I don't have a problem with money, I just don't want to think and grow rich. Well, why don't you want to think and grow rich? Why are you afraid? What are you so afraid of for a program that is $199 for 5 weeks, where you're in a group of people, you're being sharpened, you're getting one-on-one coaching with me, group coaching, and we're going to break barriers. We're going to break barriers of belief of what you possibly could be keeping you back from taking those next steps, or achieving that income, or getting the outcome that you want for your life. What is it? What is it that's holding you back and keeping you from doing this study? Well, we won't know unless you sign up and do the study. And I guarantee you will find out. This book talks about a secret, and the secret's revealed to you when you're ready for the secret. And so if you're listening to this video, we start at 7:30 tonight Eastern. I'm going to put the link in there for you that you can sign up and register and get in with us. We're talking about desire. It's one of my favorite chapters. And when I get that burning desire happening, man, the teaching explodes. Spirit takes over. I get rid of my ego. I get out of the way, and we get into these principles so that those that are in the room can really hear what is meant to be heard, what needs to be heard for you individually in your life, and what barriers need to be removed in order for you to really step forward in a confidence, step forward in a movement, step forward into what it is and why it is and who it is that you're doing all of this for. So I'm inviting you 5 weeks, Think and Grow Rich. It is continuously at the top selling list of books by personal developers, motivational speakers, anybody that is super successful in running major organizations. They've all read this book, or those that are super successful, they may not have read the book, but they walk in the principles. It's so fun to sit and have a conversation and do an interview with somebody that is super faithful, super successful, super brilliant in what they do. They haven't read the book, but they apply the principles in their life just naturally. And that's what happened with Napoleon Hill. That's what he did. He studied people, and there's people that hold these principles, and they didn't come from a certain level of education. So sorry, you well-educated people that think you know it all. Let's get rid of the ego. Those that don't have an education, that think I'm not educated to take this program, that's ego. Get rid of the ego. And for those of you who are just like afraid of thinking about money or thinking about getting rich, or that's just fear telling you, your subconscious driving you, telling you that you can't. And I want to bust that belief from your life, from your thoughts, from your pattern, your learning pattern. I want to bust it. I want to combust it. I want to blow it apart, and take this journey with you over the next 5 weeks and see how you're going to finish 2023 and begin 2024 with a whole new insight and outlook to what it is and why it is and who it is that you're building your life. So whether you're in mortgages, insurance, you're in pharmaceutical, you're in some kind of doctrine of studies, you're a teacher, a lawyer, a realtor, whatever it is that you are doing, and you're applying your life, or a mother or a husband or a father, and you want to create a legacy, you want to build wealth, you want to learn how to, take your life further and dig with what it is that that's there. There's a desire, there's a seed place, and how you have yet to unwrap it because of that ego that's telling you you can't, or you shouldn't, or you won't. Only you can make that decision. Only you can do that. But I'm just inviting you at my table to join us at 7:30 tonight for the next 5 weeks. I'll see you there. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.